Hi, and welcome to the Daily Record's High School Football Insider. I'm sports writer Mike Plant along with sports editor Aaron Dorksen, and we're coming to you high atop the roof of the Daily Record on the corner of East Liberty and Buckeye Street. And we're heading to the season's halfway point. Aaron, what are you doing?
I'm hearing the drums starting to beat in the distance, Mike, and right here as we look at the high school football computer rankings. The first official rankings were released this week, and last year the big news we started to really zero in on was the possibility of Norwayne playing Orville in the Division 4 Region 13 playoffs. Of course, that wound up happening. Norwayne beat the Red Riders, which was viewed as an upset to many, went on to win the state title. The big thing that jumps out at me in the computer rankings this week, Mike, Norwayne second, Division 4 Region 13, Triway 8th. So we're starting to wonder, could we possibly see Triway and Norwayne match up?
Yeah, it's never too early, like you said, to start beating the drums for a big area game like that. But we got a lot of football to be played before we can start thinking about the postseason, Aaron, including Friday night's game in Doylestown. The Big Chief will be up for grabs as two programs really in need of a victory. The Rittman Indians and the Chippewa Chips, both winless this season, will meet over at Doylestown's Community Stadium. And Aaron, just looking at some quick numbers from that game, and it's Wayne County's oldest rivalry. Since 2006, beginning of 2006 season, Rittman has 8 wins and 56 losses, while Chippewa is 9 and 55.
Yeah, I wrote in my Sunday column, if there's one game all year that I could somehow let both teams get a win, it would be this one, because you'll really feel bad for the team that can't get it. They might, if it plays out like last year, it was the only game that Rittman was able to win, and then Chippewa went 0-10. That's probably the most intriguing game of the week to me. What's going to happen then? The biggest game, also very intriguing, is West Holmes is going to go to Ashland. West Holmes is off to its best start since 2006. So there's a quick look at some of the games this week. We'll come back after this break. We'll break down those games as well as the rest of the games in the area on the Daily Record High School Football Insider.
Welcome back to the Daily Record's High School Football Insider. We're on the roof at the Daily Record, bringing you all of this week's games. And the big game of the week will be over at Ashland on the turf at Ashland's Community Stadium. Aaron, I know last week was a big game for West Holmes when they played Madison in the Battle of Undefeated Teams. And it's right back into another big game this Friday for the Knights when they take on the Arrows. Both teams 1-0 in the OCC.
That's right, Mike. I mean, it's only the halfway point of the season, and Kevin Maltrich, of any coach we talk to regularly, he takes them game by game as much as anyone. That's his quote. He can win the biggest game, and he'll say, we wanted to be 1-0 at the end of the week, so we'll start over next week to be 1-0. But even Coach Maltrich admitted to me when I talked to him today, this is a huge game. He said it's going to be like a playoff atmosphere. West Holmes was picked to win the league in our preseason poll. Ashland was picked number 2. West Holmes is off to its best start since 2006. They won a real exciting game on 31-28 in double overtime last week. Adding to the intrigue, when they go up to Ashland, they both play completely different styles. West Holmes plays the football that maybe your dad used to watch play, and Woody Hayes play. They want to go 10-yard drives, 10-play drives, eat up the clock. And Ashland has the spread offense, so Coach Maltrich said it's going to be real important who can control the tempo. Even if West Holmes doesn't score on a drive, if they can take 6-7 minutes off the clock, that's going to help them. Now, one of the biggest keys is Lane Perrone, their junior, who leads the area in touchdowns, second in rushing, fullback. Is he going to be able to play? He sprained his ankle. Coach Maltrich just today said he hasn't been able to practice yet, but they expect him to practice Thursday. They feel like it's going okay, but it's going to be a game-time decision. So that would be a big loss, but Coach Maltrich, as probably any coach would say, he has confidence in the backup Clay Stutzman. And of course, Ashland has an unbelievable passing attack. Insert a new quarterback every few years. This year it's Tyson Vogel, so it should be an outstanding matchup.
Yeah, and other games in the OCC, Worcester will travel over to Madison. Both teams lost their OCC openers last week. Aaron, I had a chance to watch Worcester and Ashland. I got a good look at Tyson Vogel, and he's a very good quarterback. He reminds me a little bit of Doug Flutie, the way he runs around in the backfield. Worcester in that game played a decent game, but again, 6 turnovers by the Generals, and they're going to have to get that under control, including 3 interceptions by their super sophomore quarterback Cam Doherty, who threw for 348 yards in the defeat. They'll be taking on Madison, who, like you said, is a lot like West Holmes, wants to play ball control. Last week, Madison had the ball for only 36 plays to West Holmes' 81, which is not very good when you want to try to be a ball control offense. The one good thing for Worcester, I think, in this matchup, Aaron, Worcester's had a lot of success stopping teams from running the ball, and that's what Madison likes to do. In the other OCC game of interest, Mansfield Senior will be traveling to Orville to play on the turf at Heartland Field. And the Red Riders, Aaron, are on a 3-game losing streak, a very rare 3-game losing streak for them. And they're going to have their hands full Friday night dealing with quarterback Jalen Reese of the Tigers, who has them off to a nice 3-1 start.
Well, that's a look at the OCC. We'll take another break, be back, talk about the Wayne County Athletic League and the PAC, and wrap up this week's show. Welcome back to the Daily Record High School Football Insider. Let's go to the Wayne County Athletic League. Rittman Chippewa. Pretty intriguing matchup. Something's got to give, Mike.
Yeah, it's a battle for the Big Chief Trophy, and Rittman this year has a chance to retire the Big Chief, which goes to any team. The permanent trophy goes to any team winning winning the game 3 years in a row. And Aaron, this will be the 113th meeting between these two schools. A lot of times back in the 20s, 30s, and 40s, they met 2 times a season. So it's actually the most played rivalry in Wayne County. Both teams are coming in 0-4 and really in dire need of a victory. Chippewa, of course, carrying their 27-game losing streak. Their last win was back in 2009 over the Indians. And Rittman's 7-0 win last year was the only win that Coach Bill Dennis has been able to get in his 1+ years coaching the Indians. Rittman will come in with probably the best athlete on the field will be the coach's son, Blake Dennis, a wide receiver who's had a pretty solid season. They haven't really had that many problems scoring points. They've scored a few touchdowns, which has been Chippewa's problem. They've only scored 27 points on the season. Tyler Hoosier is another solid athlete for Rittman. And their line is decent, led by Devin Dingus, one of our favorite players. Now, on the other hand, Chippewa talking to Kevin Wolf this week, head coach Kevin Wolf, the 3rd-year guy, still looking for his first career head coaching win. He says they're gonna get a couple players back, including Stoney Epling, another member of our all-name team here in the area.
That's a good football name.
Yeah, Stoney will be back on offense, and he's a main target for quarterback Bo Wetzel. And they're also gonna get fullback linebacker Logan Zero back. He's looking at shoulder surgery sometime in October. The doctor said, hey, he can't mess it up anymore if he's got 1 game to play, and this is the one he wants to play. So you know the emotions will be running high when the Big Chief's on the line.
Kind of the Super Bowl for the Chips and the Tribe. Let's move on now to the team that's leading the way in the Wayne County Athletic League. Norwayne 4-0, ranked 2nd in the state. They're going to go to Waynedale. Joe Dreyer's really settling in nicely, Mike, as the quarterback. Big shoes to fill in Adam Wallace. Joe's passed for just under 1,100 yards, 10 touchdowns. John Zimmerly, he's got to be a midseason MVP candidate for the area. He's been out a little bit with some hamstring injuries, but he's been cleared. He really makes them go as north and south of runner as I've seen around here. So Norwayne's coming off a 69-0 win over Rittman. Waynedale got rocked 42-14 by Smithville. The Bears at least scored 2 touchdowns. That matched what they'd had coming into the game. So Bears definitely an underdog, but you know Coach Zerker will have them playing, doing what they can.
Right. Other Wayne County Athletic League games, Northwestern will go across the county to play Dalton and McFerrin Field. This was a great game last year. The Bulldogs, even though they only won 2 games last year, gave Northwestern all they wanted over in West Salem before the Huskies were able to pull that out. And Northwestern, with Smithville and Hillsdale coming up the next 2 weeks, this is a big win. This is going to be a big game for them to win, Aaron, because they're still on the outside looking in on the playoff picture with plenty of points to be gained the next couple weeks. And finally, Hillsdale will be at Smithville. And what's been a pretty good, turned into a pretty good rivalry. Hillsdale's had the better of it the last few years. Smithville has got a nice little 2-game winning streak, Aaron, where their lines have started to play better, and we know they've got plenty of skill. Hillsdale, of course, lost their last non-conference game to Ashland County rival Loudonville, and really bounced back in a major way last week by thumping Dalton pretty good. And right now, Hillsdale, if the season was to end today, Hillsdale would make the playoffs. And, you know, points are always at a premium, especially with some of the teams that haven't done so well in the Wayne County League. Switching over to the Principals Athletic Conference, Aaron, I know there's a big game right down the road there at Triway where the Titans will be welcoming Tuslaw for homecoming.
That's right. I mentioned Triway at the top of the program. They're 8th in their region for the computer points. And this week and then the next several weeks, they play the other 4 teams that look to be the contenders in the pack. I don't know if there's a great team in the pack, but there's some pretty good ones, and it'll sort itself out, starting with Tuslaw, homecoming. Tuslaw, kind of an unpredictable team. They really rallied back nicely, but still lost to CVCA last week. Parker Carmichael continues to throw the ball real well for Triway, just a sophomore. He's just under 1,100 yards passing, 10 TDs. Justin Copley and Kyle Kearney provide the top 2 receivers in the area based on receptions so far. Cal Huffman's playing real good on defense. Triway's coming off a 40-19 win over Fairless, so they should have a lot of momentum coming into what's also their homecoming game this Friday.
Yeah, and then talking to Tony Lee today, real quick, Aaron, I know that Brody Horner, Greg Hamlin, a couple senior offensive linemen, he said have really stepped up, and that's exactly what you want your seniors to do. Well, that's a quick look at all of this week's games. We're halfway through the season after Friday night. Week 5 is Friday night. And read all about the games we'll be at Friday in Saturday's Daily Record. And join us here next week again on the Daily Record's High School Football Insider. Thanks for watching.
Fakes the blitz, sets it up. Boosh.